Hello, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Hannah Fernandez, and you're watching SCORE TV. SCORE is a nonprofit organization that provides free business mentoring and other services to startups and established businesses all across the United States. So whether you are a new entrepreneur or you've been in business for a long time, our SCORE mentors could offer you free business advice, mentoring, and other resources. To connect with us, please check out our website at chicago.score.org. You can also email us at info@scorechicago.org or call us at 312-353-7724. If you want to learn how to use data analytics to grow your business, my guest today can help. With me today is Othello Van Calvert, who is the founder of Othello Business Solutions. And Othello uses his experience as a data analyst engineer to support small businesses. Othello, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you for having me. Thank you for me being here, too. Thank you.
Of course, I know that you come from a family who owns several businesses, which you helped run at the age of 13. So what motivated you to start your own business as a business data analyst consultant?
Well, good questions. What got me started was, I got downsized and I was looking to get back into the industry.
Sure.
And I've helped so many business owners out there. And as you mentioned, my family had a family business-owned business. And so I had that experience coming up, and then I also had the analytics part. So I thought it was a great time to either get back in the field or just simply, since I was helping other business owners, go into business for myself. And when I started working for myself, I say it was great for it to get started helping some other businesses as well. So that's how I got started.
Exactly. And that is an inspiring story if, let's say somebody gets, laid off from a job or something else, that there's life after your current position.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Most people look to go back into the industry, but I've had the experience in the drive, and with SCORE helps, and we can talk about that.
Sure.
SCORE helps actually help encourage that to pursue that. So it's all in one to help me to pursue that. So I definitely did that crossover, and it's hard work, but it's worth it. It's yours.
Absolutely. So tell me, what does a data analyst do? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. Analysts is pretty much they look for the information, they run that data, and they sort it out and look for insights that would actually help the small business owner make good decisions. Simply look for correlations, information, and translate that result to the business owners. Also, part of the job is part of the job is taking that data information, the software information, that information, and using that to spot information that would also look for preventative measures in the companies that you find, which also take creative thinking.
Sure, definitely. And what data analysis software are you very, well versed in, and how is that useful for the viewers and the small business owners out there?
Good question. Yeah, most companies when they get started, they look for the what's called the ERPs, Enterprise Resource Planning softwares, and it's good. When you're looking to build your business on the analytical part, get the information. But you can also trim that down to Excel. I love Excel. I've used it as an engineer to crunch numbers and get good results. So, and also I'm incorporating the R Studio, which is also you can get your information with to get good results as an analyst.
Gotcha. So let's talk about process, right? So what is your process when you start a new project? So talk to us, in simple terms.
Sure. Process. I believe when you start a project, you definitely want to take your time to look over the information and make sure that you're defining the objective and the problems that's there.
Okay.
Once you find that, then you want to relate that to if it's a business, then it's your client. If it's you're working for a company, then it's your project manager.
Sure.
Then you want to take that information and you want to either create new information for it. You can see if you can create new information. You want to get a feel. In other words, you want to get a feel of that data
Okay.
and see where it comes from. Is it reliable? You want to definitely see where is it going. Just get a feel for it, and you can determine that. And then, and lastly, the project. When you're looking at the project, doing the project, you want to make sure that that is reliable. The timing, as far as the deadlines, and we talk about that deadlines. Make sure
Right.
that's reliable and make it reasonable in time.
Sure. So you brought up the deadlines. So can you talk about some of the challenges in meeting those deadlines?
Absolutely. You pick one. I think definitely, the challenge, is good to, they say what don't kill you makes you stronger.
Sure.
I had one incident that I was working with a client and gathering information, and I had information doing quite well with it, and actually looking over the data, all the information was in there. So I had to determine which one was affecting the variables, data information, and when I went back for it, it wasn't developed. So I had to take time to develop, which went
Ooh,
over
okay.
the deadline, which I thought. So one of the key things I just mentioned is to inform the project manager. You work with a project manager, inform that project manager or your clients ahead of time, right then, and then have in terms of what you're going to do, how you're going to resolve that issue, which I did,
Right.
and was able to meet the deadline in time. It was right on the skin of my teeth.
Thank
but
goodness, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a good experience. But I always say and consult your project manager or your client.
What I'm also hearing in terms of meeting deadlines is great communication amongst your team members.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When you fall into that, you definitely want to have a Apache, I'll call it Apaches there that you can consult with, because it's definitely, you're not in it alone. You
Right,
have your
exactly.
IT department. You have other departments that plays into it, so you definitely want to bring them in on it, and then your clients on it. Before you go to your client, you definitely want to consult with your business partners and see how you can resolve the issue. What's the next thing? Because you're not by yourself.
Exactly, and that's what I like to tell the small business owners, and if you're listening, is that there's no reason for them to go ahead and run a small business on their own. And it's very important that you actually gather the right team members. And you shouldn't be the smartest person in the room. You need to be able to delegate those tasks, focus on your strength, but then go ahead and say, you know what, I'm weak at this, or this is not my forte, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure my team member is going to go ahead and do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's good to create a culture. I will call you a team, your go-to people. And you're right, if you're the smartest one in the pack, then your business will probably suffer. So
Exactly.
my background, is martial arts and being in sports. I never go without a coach or go without a team.
Yes,
So it's a team.
exactly. Absolutely. So what exactly does a small business owner need to find out regarding their data?
Absolutely. I would say first thing they would do is definitely want to be specific in understanding. And I read that it's challenging for small businesses to be specific and not knowing where to look for the data. But it resides in the channels. You want to look at your channels and see what channels can bring in revenue that increases your revenue without increasing costs, which result into a bigger profit, profit margins. You definitely want to you look at your key indicators in those areas, key indicators, which is your KPIs, they call it, key indicators, and look and see if that information that you're gathering from the key indicators is the right information that's going into the data. You restoring the data. Make sure that's the right information that's corresponding or contributing to the business owner's goal.
Oh, got it. So you mentioned KPIs. Where's the data coming from? Is that all? Are there other sources at all?
Yeah, it's pretty much within the company organization. It can be outside of the company, a combination of the HR departments. It can be the IT department, different sources in the IT department. The information that they gather, if it's the right information, it can be from your website information, your network side of the business, your marketing side, and how the information is coming in and how it is actually being stored. So when the business owner is looking to gather the information, it's stored in their system, which goes into a database. It's where, as an analyst, we gather the information from the database.
Got it. And so when you gather that information, how can a small business owner ensure that, that data is of quality?
Well, absolutely. You definitely want to have quality information.
Mm-hmm.
Want to store that information. I would also look for the IT department.
Okay.
Along, because we work together as a team. The IT department has a couple of friends that I work with that's in the IT department. Things I don't know, I know. Look, we kind of cross edit, go cross jobs edit.
Sure.
And you want to have your infrastructure together, which is the IT department. As far as the data and analyst side, is where I come in at, is where you can't take the information, excuse me, you clean up the data. Once you get it, you clean up the data and you make sure that discard any unused data, outdated data, or wrong information that's in there. So you kind of clean it up, make sure you're outputting good information. You definitely want to take that information and eventually create perhaps a new data frame or database. Not database, I'm sorry, what you call the data sets. Take that and create data sets, meaning adding or subtracting from that and creating and making it a complete set all over again. So you're kind of cleaning it up, making sure it's quality insurance on that, and then making it more usable.
Got it.
Okay, I also want to add to that.
Sure.
Is, I just read about there's a system out there called the data quality management.
Okay.
And it's a good package that I'm reading about that also provide quality for the business as well.
Okay, got it. Now I know it's so important to test whether that data is valid or not. So which statistical analysis techniques do you apply?
Right, good questions. The provide is the regression is one of them. I like the regression, which gives you a statistic analyst part that gives you an estimate of different variables. The relations of different variables. We talked about the KPIs. You got different variables, like the human resource department, like the different departments. They have different measurements. So the regression gives you that connection relation on the levels of how much they relate to each other. Then you have the cohorts, COHORT, cohorts. You have that part where pretty much when you deal with the like Google Analytics, that technique is usually when you're gathering information over time and you're gathering behaviors of different groups and seeing how they interact with each other. And then you have you got two more, which is called the predictive one, and then the prescriptive one. That's pretty much based on, excuse me, that's pretty much based on the analysis of current and historical information, data information. And you're going to take that information and see where you can find preventative measurements.
Sure.
And then once you find that, and there's also including alternative scenarios that you might run into, along with the recession, I call it a risk assessment. Those things might come up in the business, and business owners want to know those things. It's almost like getting an assessment test, and all these things come up, and you realize, oh, I need to take care of this part here.
Right,
so
exactly.
Those are things that techniques would brings or opens for a business owner.
Gotcha, got it. So let's go ahead and backtrack a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur and a small business owner. So how has SCORE supported you in terms of starting your business? Because I know a lot of the viewers are watching, and we have a mixture of viewers. Some of them are just starting a business and others are established. So can you tell us a little bit about your story with SCORE, your first interaction, and how the organization has supported you?
Yeah, like where do you want to start, right?
Yeah.
I got started, as I mentioned, was downsized, and was a good thing. Sometimes things happen for a good reason.
Sure.
And I was part of a chamber in the Lawndale area that's where I grew up, and looking to help the business owner was my thing when I was 13. Did it then. I always had the passion because of my father was the business in the community. We had over a long period of time, so he always encouraged to do business. He was a businessman himself. So it came around to that in the community. I met some key people, and which led me to a gentleman named Keith Coleman, and it was the best, and that was one of my turning points. Sat down with him over some tea,
Yes.
And we talked. And one of the key things he mentioned to me that stuck with me was remember what's your passion.
Yes.
And that triggered that because my father always said to follow your passion. So I forgot that, and so he said, and I took that away, and over a couple of days I thought about it and said, you know what, I'm gonna, get into this. I'm helping other businesses, and I'm having the tools to do it with, but I haven't used those tools to help my own self, and I'm good at it. So whereas buying things for my house or other things for the car, I'm good in determining what's good and what's not, through spreadsheets and analytic part. But I never really internalized that for, hey, maybe for myself. If I can do it for myself, why not do it for the business owner? So it was a back and forth. I would treat the business owner just as myself.
Sure.
And give them quality. Give them quality work. So that was my turning point with SCORE. Helped me out, and some of the trainings went through the training before my crossover to the business world for myself was some of the trainings with Microsoft SCORE has outputted different workshop that was out there.
Right.
So I was already going to these meetings, and so it just added to it. It was like a calling. It was like a calling. Okay, you should be over here, and so got excited with that. Decided to become a mentor. Along with Keith, and I'm saying, wow, this is great being my own business. Not only that, being able to provide on another level, a different platform. So I would encourage definitely people to, if they're looking to be involved, to have a mentor.
Right, exactly. And it resonates with me as well because I come from a family of entrepreneurs. And so that's one of the reasons why whenever I see a small business owner or other entrepreneurs, I want to go ahead and inspire them as well.
Yes.
Because, you and I have been there, we've done that. And, as much as you want to go up, you also want to go and make sure that you take others with you down that path.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's the big thing in life is being able to do well and keeping others in mind. My mom always said, and I always go back to the family, my mom always said, put yourself in someone else's shoes. When I was young, I didn't really listen so well, but now I understand.
Exactly.
Put yourself in someone else's shoes, and as you start doing that, and you're in business, you're not so much in the business to make money, but you're in business alone to make money, but as well as to treat others as you would do yourself. So if you're going to buy you a good pair of shoes, or go to the store and buy you good stuff, and you're very picky about that, the customers are the same thing. The businesses are the same thing. Others, they're picky about their products and what they buy, so they want to get good products and good information, so that data information will provide that insight for them to make that good decision. When my wife, I want to go back and say this right quick. When my wife decided to buy a car,
okay,
it was a tough time. It was a deadline time because we had to get a car. That's personal, but we had to get that car, and I used that analytics part. Even when my baby was here, I used data analytics to time it perfectly and to minimize the distractions. And we was pretty much dead on when we got a nice vehicle for a little bit of the money and it lasted long with no repairs. And who would be out there when they want to buy something, like say for example a company want to buy a product, a machine or copy machines, or who has copy machines, right? Well, buy a tool, a computer, or and they want to make sure they get the best information. So all that data information is stored in that, and so we can actually look at that and see a trend. And so definitely I'm excited. I'm passionate about it, you can tell.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm glad to be part of SCORE, to be able to motivate and hopefully be a role model to encourage others to follow their passion.
Absolutely. And speaking of role models, one of the things that we're very passionate about, especially in SCORE Chicago and across the country with all the SCORE chapters, is that we want to bring a lot more diversity and inclusion into the organization. So when I see, mentors like you, I see a lot of mentors from minority backgrounds and women. And, we're becoming more and more diverse. But one of the things that I'm very excited about is that not only are we becoming diverse, is that a lot of the mentors coming in are actually taking on some leadership roles. And so, what are your thoughts about that? Is that one of your driving factors as well? Because you said you want to be a good example or role model for other entrepreneurs out there.
Absolutely. I mean, when you walk into a room, you want to be able to relate. To in all different nationality and cultures that's out there. But what's driving, be honest, what's driving the market now is a diverse.
Yes.
And I'm all for it. And it's what's calling. Where isn't it what you call it inevitable? It's going to happen. So you want to tap into that market, and that's what's going on. And so definitely being involved in that journey, I would advise people to come out of the comfort zone.
Right.
It's a lot of talents out there. I've heard that most of it is going to the graveyard, right? So like myself, take the steps, take the challenge. And believe in yourself and be around the right people, which I found in getting started and sticking with it. With that, you definitely will have success. There's always failures. It's going to be always ups and downs, but you fall forward. John C. Maxwell say, always fall forward. So definitely, that's something to look forward to as far as being diverse. Most of the people I have on the team, as far as IT department, they're different. You got other software guys that's different. So you can learn a lot from, from all different types, all around culture.
Absolutely. The good thing is, failure is not fatal. It's not the end of the world. And this is where a lot of entrepreneurs, whether we're talking about you, me, or anybody else out there listening, is that this is where you really learn and grow when you actually just put yourself out there. And just like in anything, whether you're talking about life or in business, there's an element of risk involved. Yeah. But as long as you have some mentors right next to you, and really, of course, do your research as well and learn from your mistakes, this is where, you're actually in a good path of always growing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You mentioned to do your research, and I'm a big on research.
Yeah.
The business plan has helped me. One of the key indicators in my life is the business plan. Once I was using the tools I've had to create my business, in helping other business owners to get their business plan together, I decided, hey, let me use it on myself and realize how important it is to plan and have that and do your research, and found out a whole thing of the industry as a consultants, business consultants, and move forward towards realizing, because once you start that research, you begin to uncover some of the talent that you have, because you start one way, and then as you do your research, you begin to see, oh, well, this is really what I really want. This is my passion.
Right.
And it also has a passion about it. It has a market that's opening to it. So that business, and SCORE, it definitely, we did that before with SCORE with the business plan, opens up some doors to better planning and starting your business.
Right, exactly. And once you do your research and you go out and create a business plan, where the money is just a follow-up and implementation. This is where you really go ahead and test your ideas to see if they're feasible, to see if they're being accepted by the market, and to see if people are willing to go ahead and pay for your services and products. So it's one of these things where when you're building a business, it's always a work in progress.
Yes.
It's one of these things where, okay, let's go ahead and implement this initiative, and then you go ahead and make sure you set up, metrics to see is this working, is this not? And what I do is, you want to set up metrics and then kill the initiatives that are not working, and give yourself a deadline, maybe in 3 months, if this doesn't work, then let's kill this. And whatever is working for you, this is where you continue it and double up the effort or even the budget for it.
Yeah, the language you're speaking is the analyst part.
And
I can hear it in there. Yeah, you look at the information, you look at the data information, and you want to determine, is it outdated information, outdated, is it usable, can you add to it, and not. And those are key indicators you want to have in place and have those written down. So you definitely speak in the analytics. Analytics is in everything you do. It's just, finding out, how to actually pull it all together, because there's so much out there and where to pull it from. But definitely, that's good stuff.
Absolutely. And if a business owner doesn't know where to start, this is where SCORE comes in. You could go ahead and get a mentor like yourself or, somebody else within the SCORE organization, because as you all know, with SCORE, we actually have over 62 expertise in terms of industries across the country. So if we don't have it within our chapter, we could just pick up the phone and go ahead and reach out to others as well. So right now, as we wrap up, what advice do you have for entrepreneurs wanting to start or grow their businesses?
Absolutely. Of course, there's many avenues and good advice out there. I would say follow your passion.
Okay.
Follow your passion pretty much and get around a good team. If you're looking for a team, we're here, but definitely have a good team behind you.
Gotcha. Well, Othello, thank you so much for being here today and all you do for SCOR. I really appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Anna, for inviting me here.
Of course, you're really, very welcome. And to those of you watching right now, if you would like some free business mentoring, or if you would like to become a SCOR mentor yourself, we would love for you to connect with us. Again, our website is chicago.score.org. I'm Hannah Fernandez. Thank you so much again for watching, and we'll see you again next time on SCOR TV.